So today we are working on gravestones for my Addams family graveyard, and I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I've been doing some tests this morning, and it's been extremely frustrating. When I've done this in the past, I've done it with foam core board and with this stuff, and it's this textured paint. And I was just able to cut it out. Uh-oh. Am I frozen for everybody? Let me know. I cut it out and just spray painted it, and it worked. But I don't know if they've changed the the formula for this stuff, because now it's just melting the foam. Y'all let me know if you can still hear me. I may have to restart the stream and figure out what's going on. Okay. All right, Gail, I hope it unfreezes for you. Okay, so anyway, it is melting the foam in my foam board, so I'm trying to figure out a way around that issue. And so that's been my test this morning, and I've been panicking because it wasn't working, but I feel like one thing that I do rather well is just keep going even when things are failing and figure out how to fix it. So I have a couple of tests drying outside, but I'm just going to ignore the failures of this morning and continue on. And hi Aileen and Ubaldo. Very cool. Let me know if I'm saying your names correctly. I know I have a weird name, so it doesn't bother me when people say my name weird because it's a different kind of name, but I know some people let me know if I'm saying your name incorrectly, and I will try to fix it. So what I have a few miniatures here. This one I purchased last May, with keeping in mind that it would become a gravestone, or part of a gravestone. And I had this guy from a mini swap a long time ago, and he's just very Addams Family-esque. And then, oh no, okay. A Leon, is that how I say it? That's pretty. So then this guy, my dad brought me back from Brazil, maybe? Or maybe he just found it. I can't remember. I know he brought me something else back from Brazil, but anyway, I have this little wizard guy. And then, so those are the three guys that I have to kind of add into my Addams Family cemetery. And I'm going to show you, I pulled up a couple of pictures to show you. So this is the graveyard scene in the first movie, which is the one I'm probably most inspired by because it has a lot of a mixture of small headstones, and then it has some bigger, more sculptural headstones. And so a lot of them are in the nude, so that is interesting. But anyway, so it's just an interesting mixture, and I think it makes for something interesting to look at. So I think that's why I was looking at these little guys might fit into this type. I didn't pull up the TV show because this is just when I think Addams Family Graveyard, this is what I think. And then this one is also from that same movie, and they have a a stone couch. And so I still see, okay. Would you guys be super sad if I restarted the stream? Because I think I might know how to fix it since I've had several different people say it. I'm going to stop the stream, restart it, and pray that it works. We're just going to go with it because here we go. So, if you just got here, we're working on the Addams Family Graveyard. I've got all these little miniatures that we're going to be working on, and I was showing some pictures of the graveyard scene from the first movie, and so this one with all the different ones. What I'm using for this is scrap pieces of foam core board, and this is, let me move this picture. Hold on. It's just a mess this morning. Thanks for tuning in to my mess. This is just scrap foam core board. It's stuff I get from the dollar store, and it's the stuff I've always used, so I'm not quite sure why I'm having such an issue with this stuff. Hi, Daniela. Uh-oh. Okay, good. You're back. Okay, everything's working. Hopefully. Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers. So this stuff has been melting my foam core board, but I think I'm working a way around it. We'll just keep going. So, like I said, from the picture, there's a mixture of headstones and sculptural stones. So I'm going to start just by making a typical headstone type piece, because I do want a few of those. Now I will show you my my melty mess from this morning. This is the first little test that I did. I just cut out like the basic shape, and it says RIP on it, but you can see that it started melting the foam core on top. And so that's what I'm talking about. So I had another test, and so what I'm doing is I'm taking some wood filler after I've sprayed it and going, or before, and then if it melts it some a little bit after, I'll go in and put some more wood filler so that it kind of protects the foam from the spray paint. So I'm going to show you how I kind of put one of these little simple guys together. And because this is the Addams family, it would add an extra if you gessoed the whole thing first. Probably would help. Anything to protect the foam board. And also I put a little wood filler onto this thin paper that's on it to keep the paper from buckling. So anything you can do to protect this stuff before you spray paint it is probably going to be the best option. So the reason I tried to do a test this morning is so that I can show you how I want to age it, because I want to get everything done in this stream, because I have a crazy week. But you know what? If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I want to make sure I give you guys a quality tutorial on how I do this, even if I don't know what I'm doing so far. And I did want to show y'all, look, I put Cousin It on my nails for you guys today, in the spirit of Addams Family October. I'm not like a nail artist or anything, but it was fun. Anyway, I was excited about it. Okay, so as you can see, these are where I was doing my tests. So, like I said, this is Addams Family, so nothing really needs to be super exact, per se. But if you, I don't know why I'm putting it all the way over here. I'm wasting all this foam board. This morning, just everything was going wrong, so I just was like going like a crazy person trying to get my tests done. A barrier of gel medium. I'm not sure what gel medium is. You might have to tell me what that is. So I'm gonna move this over here so I don't waste as much foam board on this. You'll see what I'm doing. I'm just penciling in a shape. If you want it to be like a newer, more exact gravestone, you'll probably want to like print out some kind of pattern or something so that it looks exact each time you do it, or perfect. But nothing really about my Addams Family house is perfect, so I'm not really worrying about it. I'm just kind of sketching it out, and then I'm going to cut it out with my X-Acto knife as straight up and down as I can so that the sides are straight. And then I'm just cutting it out like so. Oh, Mod Podge, but more expensive. Buildings, garland breaks away in time. That's true. That's true. Oh, okay. Cool. Okay, so I just have this like little headstone, and like you can see, he's not perfect. It kind of looks like he's leaning over, but I'm okay with that. And then, you know, you can kind of write whatever's on here. I should have, but I didn't have time to do research on the names I want to put on here. But honestly, in the Graveyard, you can't really see a lot of names. Sometimes, like at the end, they say some names like Aunt LaBorgia and things, but you don't really see a ton of names on them. So I'm just going to do a simple one where it's just the R.I.P. And it's going to get covered up, so if it's real sketchy, it's okay. Okay. Still says something about my video settings is wrong, but I don't know how to fix it, YouTube. If you're going to tell me it's wrong, please send me a solution so I can fix it. Okay, so I'm going to try and get it as even as I can, but I'm guessing a lot of these headstones are made in-house, so a lot of leaning is good. Leaning is good. Jimmy Hoffa. That would be an interesting one. Okay, so I'm using one of these little ball tools. And the idea was that I could just indent the letters into the foam. But really, all it kind of starts to do is break through the foam, which is okay with me because the spray paint kind of fills it back in. So if it's a larger headstone, you can use like a larger ball, but I'm going to use a smaller one. And let me zoom you in just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just really going to start, and it just rips the foam core a little bit. And it's honestly not super pleasant to do, but as you can see, I now have this divot in here. And you would think whenever I do these pieces, like these pieces would start falling off, but it holds on to the foam core because it's glued to the foam core. So anyway, so it works out okay, or it has so far. You never know though, the way the morning has been going with my test ones, this could totally fail. So we're just going with it today. You know, gravestones should be a pretty forgiving project. If they're all messed up and destroyed, you know, it's okay. It's okay. So I have a lot of really fun things planned for this month for Addams Family October. And my big plan is for all October long to be working on the siding for the outside of the house, and to reveal that on Halloween Day, what the siding looks like and how I did it. And the house is huge, so I was panicking a little bit looking at my schedule thinking, how am I going to get this done? But you know what? If it comes out in November, I think it'll still be okay. we're just gonna go for it. So what I do for these is I do like a little base stone, and so I just kind of put it onto the foam board and decide how long I want it to be, and cut straight across, and then kind of put it back on there, see how far out I want it to go, and then cut that piece off. So then I have my gravestone and base. How about crossing? Oh, that's a good idea. I could do that in paint, cross out the P. So do not rest in peace. Okay, so and then once I have this, because I want them to look worn, I can take my X-Acto knife and I can kind of carve at the edges a little bit, and then pull off the foam like so. And it helps, the sharper your blade is, the better it works. But you know, most really old stones are worn and chipped and cracked and all that fun stuff. So I appreciate it still, Joanne. Oh my goodness. Rest in hell. Ooh. Yes, bring on the texture. That's what I want. So I'm just carving away at the edges here. And of course I want the top of the stones to be carved away. And so now it doesn't really matter that it wasn't round to begin with, because now it's really not round. So, anyway. I was trying to think of a way to make the words look a little bit nicer, but time just got away from me, and I already cut that part. So another thing I do in October is I do a craft show. It's a really big craft show here in Texas, and I take nutcrackers that have broken and nobody wants, like their arms have fallen off and their, you know, paint's coming off, and then I repaint them and I sell them at the craft show. And I haven't worked on that at all, so I've been like, that's like October 20th or something. So I've been working on those, and it's just it's lots of fun stuff. Like, I enjoy it all, but like I just feel like I'm like crafty overwhelmed right now. But anyway, I have like some easy Addams projects for this month, and then I think it's the siding that has got me the most, like, just because the house is so big. But I think it'll be okay. I think I've come up with a way to make it go rather easily. So, slightly overbooked, yes, just a little bit. But like I said, it's all fun stuff and stuff I enjoy, so it's not too bad. It's just finding the time. So here's just a little simple stone rest in peace guy. So he could go anywhere. He could probably like have like a bunch of like bushes up around him where he's just kind of hiding because he's not anything special. And then I'm just going to take hot glue because that's going to set up the fastest. And then glue them together. And the stone spray will kind of cover up the hot glue. I guess I could do the outside of it in hot glue as well, but then it could look really chunky, and like spreading it out with my fingertips doesn't sound fun. And I can just take another extra piece of foam core board and like get the lumpiness of the, or just, you know, spread it more. Get the lumpiness of the hot glue off. So there's our first little gravestone. Thank you, Lala. I appreciate that. Busts, use butts of moss. I tried wood glue on this one a little bit at the top, and it still just went straight through it. So the wood filler has a little bit of thickness, a little bit more thickness than the wood glue. So it's a little bit more of a pain in the rear, but yay, hi Carol. Hi Carmenlita. I'm sorry you're having buffering issues. I think something's going on with my stream. I'm gonna have to do some research after we're off of here to figure out why it's telling me something about my video settings. I don't even know. It's never told me that before. Oops. And the only thing I have ever changed, I changed back, and it's still telling me that, so I don't know. So what I did is I just took some wood filler, and I'm just going to cover all the edges anywhere the foam is showing. This is going to get slightly messy, but, you know, most of my videos do get a little messy. Oh, thank you so much, Church Lady. Welcome to the channel. All right, so I'm just going around, and one nice thing about wood filler is you can kind of put it down and then go to another spot and then come back and then like re-go over it, and it'll continue to smooth. So you just keep going. Last two feeds I watched for others over the weekend were buffering a lot too. Maybe it's a YouTube thing. Maybe YouTube changed something and didn't tell anybody until they were live, and they're all going, what's happening? Thanks, YouTube. Seems like communication there is always on point. I haven't been on YouTube all that long, but I hear lots of complaints from other people, so I don't think it's a new thing. So I'm just going like so around, protecting as much of the foam as I can. Must be YouTube. We'll just blame it on YouTube anyway. I'll just take a picture of it and show it to my husband and be like, it said this. What do I do? Because he's my tech guy. So I'm just going to go around the edges because I have foam showing on the base as well. And after we get this, after we get this guy done, we'll go to some of the more fun gravestones, like the statues. Does anybody else enjoy walking through old cemeteries? I mean, I find them very peaceful, and like I guess my sisters and I, we would every now and then. There was one by my house before we moved here, and we would go there and we'd walk around, and like we'd try and find the oldest one we could find, and you know, it was just a really like we weren't disrespectful or anything. It was just, you know, like we'd read the names and read the dates and you know, just try and find the oldest one there, and it's just a peaceful place, I think. Anybody else do that, or is that weird? I don't know. Anyway, okay, so I'm trying to make sure I get all the foam, because any of it that hits that spray is just gonna melt. Oh yeah, I've heard of doing rubbings on gravestones. I've never done it before. Yeah, they are like museum. It's like little bits of history, and you know, I think if nobody ever saw the graves, like I think people put gravestones there because they wanted people to remember the people who passed. So, you know. Okay, so now I'm just going to rub a little bit on the wide open spaces. Just give that thin paper on top of it a little bit of protection, because it did buckle just a little bit the first test that I did. And I remember it being so easy the first time I did this, so they must have changed their formula and the spray paint that I'm using, the Rust-Oleum textured, is very watery. Like I think they changed the formula or whatever they put in there, because it was just not working how I remembered at all. So, ooh, will. We lived in a small town in Cleburne here in Texas. I know where Cleburne is. We lived before moving back home. My daughter and I went to the town cemetery and found one from 1780. Wow. We lived in high school. We went to a cemetery. We pinched flowers from people who had lots and shared with people who had none. It's an interesting idea. Yeah, because, you know, you never know. They may not have anyone to visit them. Love walking around them and graveyards. We have some very old ones near us. I know, it's just a very peaceful, you know, I make sure not to walk on the graves, but, you know, walk around, and it's a peaceful place to walk. My family was in the cemetery and funeral business for generations, so I love cemeteries. I get a yearly payment from one of the cemeteries. Interesting. Cleburne is a really cool city. Okay, So I've got it somewhat covered, and then I'm going to take my ball tool and I'm just going to go back over my words anywhere that the wood filler kind of got in there. Although it'd kind of be okay because, you know, even if you wanted to leave it a little bit filled in, like sometimes the words get rubbed away on really old stones. So you can kind of play with that if you decide to do this. You know, just have it look like some of it's been rolled away or rubbed away. Yeah, I think I was a very odd child as well. I remember I used to try and dress like Wednesday Addams. I'd wear like all black, and I used to try and not smile, but like I was too happy of a kid to be successful at that. But I do remember going through like the black fingernail polish phase and like really heavy black, like dark makeup phase, which I still think looks really cool. You know, I don't know. Probably my parents thought I was a little bit weird, but now they know I'm super weird and they're okay with it now. By the way, it's my mother's birthday today, so happy birthday, Mom, if you're watching. And it's my dad's birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, Dad, if you're watching this tomorrow or today. I could tell you happy birthday today, too, I guess. All right, so here's our little stone. He's as best protected as I think he's going to get. And now I have, of course, wood filler all over my hands. But that's okay. We're just gonna... And I don't have wipes for some reason. I think my kids took them. What's the difference between wood filler and glue? Okay, so wood filler is the stuff that, like, if you have a piece of wood and it's cracked, you can put it in the crack and it should harden to be kind of as good as the wood. I mean, you wouldn't want to make like a huge section of wood filler, but it's supposed to just like fill holes and gouges, whereas the wood glue just kind of glues two pieces together. Both are pretty thick materials, but if you have a really big gap, you want to use the wood filler. It's thicker. Oh, happy birthday, Tanya. That's awesome. I was an alien. I still am. Aw, thanks. They're gonna love the birthday wishes. Okay, so I'm gonna clear this off, and y'all vote. Which one do we want to start with? Skeleton, wizard, or the bird head guy? Which one do we want to start with? Write down skeleton, wizard, or the bird head guy. Because I kind of have some ideas for all three of them. Trash can. We got a bald bird head guy, skeleton, bird head guy. So far I think the bird head guy is winning. Alright, I think we'll do the bird head guy, and then we'll do the skeleton, and then we'll do the wizard if we have time. So we're going to start with this guy. I think I want to put him kind of on a pedestal. So kind of, where's my mouse? Kind of like, let me see if there's an example in the picture. Kind of like the naked strong man up in the corner there, but like where he's kind of up on a pedestal, a square pedestal, but obviously in a smaller scale. So kind of a pedestal like that, I think is what I want to do. I hope there, or like, you know, like the little statues along the walking path, something like that. So I think we'll do that. Oop, I keep to show you all the pictures. Do you have a bird, George? Okay, so I think I'm gonna get a different piece of foam board for this. And I'm gonna actually measure this out probably. Probably be the thickness of my ruler here. I'm just gonna cut one long length of this foam core. I'm gonna turn around so my arms actually work. So you won't be able to see me cut it, but I'm just using an X-Acto knife. Move all the stuff. This is a bigger piece, so it's just taking up all of the space. And I probably need a bigger ruler. This is the same. Ah, everything's falling. Okay, this should still work. I think I'm squishing stuff. That's okay. Just gonna cut a long length of this foam core. And then we can start building up kind of a pedestal look. And then I kind of want to line him up and cut off a flattened piece off the edge here. So I know it's nice and flat, although we already discovered it doesn't have to be super flat. All right, so now I got to figure out how high I want him to sit. Probably put the ruler next to him. So if I want him to be about 6 feet tall, I need to make this, the numbers on my ruler have rubbed off. So we'll make his pedestal about 3 inches tall, I think. Yay, welcome Crafted Mementos. I'm glad your alarm went off. Or, oh, you forgot to set your alarm. I'm glad you made it anyway. All right, so I'm gonna cut this at 3 inches. Or I'm just gonna mark it for now. And then cut another piece for another 3 inches. And then another 3 inches. And another 3 inches. Okay. So we should have all our pieces. I'm going to get a smaller ruler. So I'm not fighting with it because they're so long, which is helpful, but just need something a little bit shorter right now. Line him up, get him cut straight. Oops, that's not straight. There we go. All right, 1. So is the stream still doing good for you guys? Let me know. Hello, Joy. Welcome to the stream. We're making gravestones for fun for the Addams family. I'm just gonna do the lines and then I'm gonna cut them. Not super straight. That's okay. We're gonna cover it in wood filler, so I'm not super worried about it. Everything can be fixed with wood filler. If you don't use wood filler in your miniatures, you're missing out. Because any cracks, holes, seams can be filled with wood filler, and it is amazing. All right, so we got 4 pieces here, and then I want to make kind of a larger base to glue it onto. So I think what I'm doing is I'm just kind of, look, this isn't even straight right here, so I have to fill that in. Okay, awesome. Yay, stream is working. YouTube's crazy, doesn't know what it's talking about. I'm gonna make a base. I'll put a point at the corner there. I'm gonna cut a little bit straighter in a minute. Okay. Hopefully. This is the plan. So we're gonna make a square base. I'm just eyeing it. Probably not, nope, not even this edge is perfectly square. That's okay. It got broken off or something. It's handmade stone, so it's okay if it's not Not perfect. Scooch, scooch. Cut this. All right. So now we've got a base, so we can start building our little thing on, and then he'll go at the top, like so. Okay. Let's see. Do I want to glue the pieces together first? Possibly. Let's see if I can get a closer fit on this stuff. I'm just gonna, at a somewhat 45-degree angle, cut down the edge of this foam board. You'll see what I'm doing. This is probably not the best way to do it, but, and need a new blade. Okay. Might have to stop and change my blade because that's gonna annoy me, but then it can fit together a little bit better if I cut just a little bit off. Hi, Leslie. Late to the party because doctors can't be on time. My doctors aren't ever on time either. I understand. Okay. Hold on. I'll find my new blades. There they are. Okay. Take out a new one. Y'all don't know these things. They're awesome. Because I'm like crazy nervous about my blades in the trash can. Like, it makes me very nervous. So I like these things because once you're done with it, you just take your blade out without undoing your X-Acto. And then you can put your blade in this little thing, and then it's safe. You know, it's not going to poke you later because you forgot to dispose of it. And then attempt to pick up this. And then you got a new blade. Can you talk about the show you just did? What sort of items did you sell? What seemed to be in high demand? Oh, sure. So the show that I just did was, I don't think it was a typical show because I'm on a group called Marketing for Miniaturists. So it's a Facebook group. So if you're someone who sells their miniatures, it may be something for you to look into. It's not like a place to sell, like they don't let you post items for sale, but it's just a way for people to talk about shows and different sale ideas. Anyway, so I was telling them about my experience, and apparently it's not a normal show. Because it's within the group of the, oh, my phone's going off. It's within the group of the Society of American Miniaturists. So a lot of the people there are friends and have been friends for a while. And like, I've learned that I've never done like a real miniature show. That's been curated and, you know, put together and just where people come from all over to shop. And so, anyway, all that to say, they had like garage sale items. So basically stuff that, people didn't want, they brought it and then you could purchase it. And I feel like those items got a lot of attention. And then some of the more professionally made items, like that were higher priced, didn't get as much attention. So I was saying on the Facebook page, Marketing for Miniaturists, that I should have had more garage sale items. And then the people who do shows all the time said, no, you're like at professional shows, they don't really want you to have that type of stuff because it does take away from the more professionally crafted higher priced items. So I didn't know that. I still did pretty well selling. Like, I was pretty happy with what I made for a first time show, and some of my original stuff did get purchased, and so I was pretty happy with it. It was pretty low stress, but like I said, it's a group of people who have known each other for a long time, and so it's a little bit less formal. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I think I'll do it again next year. But it was a good experience, and I was glad that I shared my experience so that I can know that if I do go to a more formal miniature show, not to bring garage sale items because I could get myself in trouble or get other miniaturist people upset with me because you're not supposed to do that, apparently. Do you ever use floral foam like the ones in Dollar Tree? I haven't. This is really the foam that I use is this dollar store stuff. Although I've heard of something called Gator Board. I don't really know. I think I don't really know the difference, but I've heard it's better. So if you've tried Gator Board, let me know if you like it. Hi, Iris. You don't bother me on Facebook. Anyone can message me on Facebook or Instagram. I love to talk to you guys. So don't ever feel like you're bothering me. We're in Alabama in the South football. Yes, football. Yep, my husband's family watches a lot of football and sports. My family never really did, so I'm not used to it. But my husband's doesn't watch it all the time, so I'm kind of thankful for that. No offense to those who like sports. I'm just like, I would rather be at a game than sit and watch it on TV. I don't really think it's all that fun. Do anything you might travel around the world to do any of the shows? Well, I like doing this past show really got me thinking about myself and what I want to do in miniatures. And I don't feel like I am all that great at making multiples and multiples of miniatures. Because some people can sit down and just like assembly line stuff together and it works for them and they still have like amazing products at the end. And I don't like to do that. It's just not something I enjoy. I would rather make something one time and I'm like, yes, I made it. And now I want to make something new. And so I don't do really well at making large quantities of one item. I did do that one time. I made a ton of recycle bins, and it was a chore. Like it really, I had to push myself and focus, and like I just didn't like it towards the end. And you know, if I'm working in miniatures doing something I love, I really want to like it. So what I've decided is I'd rather do more with my miniatures. Like I'll probably still sell a few here and there, but I'd rather do more teaching, like showing people how to make things, and you know, continuing with my videos and sharing templates, and because that's really what I want to do. I want to make something, share it, and then I want to make something new. And I really like my projects, and so every now and then I'll probably sell a project or something, but all that to say, I'm just not a big like assembly line maker. I've just learned that about myself. Yes. Oh, thank you. Well, it's like that fence tutorial. I don't know if y'all watched it, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to make that again unless I have a project that definitely needs a fence. But it was so fun to make it the first time and to figure out how to make it. Like, that's the part. It's like a big puzzle, I think, to figure out how to get something to go together. It's a puzzle with like a billion different possibilities of how to get it to work, and it's fun, I think. I watched a lot of Dark Shadows. I don't know if y'all know Dark Shadows. It's like this soap opera from the 1960s with like the main characters like vampires, and it's like this really old family in this really cool house. Anyway, I just sat there and watched episode after episode after episode of Dark Shadows while I was putting that fence together. But like I said, it was worth it in the end. I was happy with how it turned out. All right, so we got the base of our pedestal here, and I'm pretty happy with that. And then I want to do another piece for the top, I think. Yes, Dark Shadows is so fun. It's fun, like it's not a funny show, like it's not meant to be funny, but it's live, in case you don't know what it is. It's live, and they're not allowed to redo the scene. And so whatever happens in the scene, if they forget their lines, or if there's a fly like sitting on their face, they just have to keep going. Like you can see like prop guys in the background every now and then. You can see like microphones. You can hear people cough. I mean, and like there was one where the main lady, there's just a fly in her face and she's just like trying to get through her line. I felt so bad for her, but it's hilarious. It's so funny. Okay, so now I'm going to stick this guy. Actually, first I'm going to trace it and try and get a piece for the top. I want it to be smaller than this. Let's see. Just slightly smaller. So. And put it over here. And if you watch Dark Shadows on Amazon, it has this cool thing called an X-ray or something, and you can click on it, and it has like information about the actors and information about like bloopers and stuff. So if you read that before you start the episode, you can kind of know what to look out for. So that's kind of interesting that Amazon does that. Yeah, the script thing, like there'll be like scripts like left on the bed, and I was reading like just Wikipedia on it because I was just started to watch it and I was interested in it, and they said there was only one scene where they let them redo it, and they dropped like a coffin or something. I haven't got to that scene yet. They dropped a coffin or something, and it just like shattered into pieces, and that was the scene they got to redo. But everything else they never got a chance to redo it. Many artists are against hot glue on foam because it can fall apart when heated. Are you using it because it's for your own use, or do you disagree? I don't know. Right now it's working well for me. I mean, I think it can deform it a little bit, but I don't know. For right now, I mean, I don't think I've ever made anything that I was going to sell with foam board. So I've never really thought about it that much. But, oh, my hot glue gun's smoking. But, I mean, like I said, it's working for me. And this isn't really melting the foam. It's really not. As you can see, the spray paint is, but the hot glue isn't. So, I don't really know what the deal with that is. But the spray paint and the hot glue, or the spray paint and the foam are not getting along. I just coughed. Whew. Okay, so there's my top of my pedestal, and here's the bottom. So I'm going to glue the bottom on. It's not melting this foam, so I don't know. I mean, you can kind of, I guess, test your own foam. Like at the beginning of the stream, I was saying that this method of making gravestones used to be a lot simpler because I could just make them out of foam board, and then I could spray them, and then that was it. But now, whatever the chemical makeup between this spray paint and this foam board, they do not like each other. They're gonna melt each other. So in the past that didn't happen. So a lot of times, once you think you've got a material figured out, like the manufacturing plant or whoever put it out is going to change it on you, and then all of a sudden you're like, this used to work and it's not working now. So it's just one of those fun things of being a miniaturist where you're like, why is my material melting? It's never done this before. I have no idea. So anyway, yeah, for right now my hot glue is not melting my foam board, but that doesn't mean it may not melt your foam board. Low temp work on foam. Yes, that's what I'm using right now. I actually have a dual temp gun, and so I have it on low temp right now. And I prefer low temp because I have the possibility of burning myself a lot. Just cause I'm clumsy. Can't even say words. Just because I'm a little bit clumsy. So now I'm gonna get in the edges. This is what I'm talking about earlier with the wood filler. Oops, just spit. Sorry. The wood filler, it can get into those gaps and kind of cover up anything. Like, I didn't cut the edges of my foam core exactly, but this can kind of cover it up and you won't see a gap there. And so it's a really good material, and then you can just like smooth it out with your finger. And then if you're trying to get really exact, you can sand it, and then you can't even tell that you did a repair there. So that's why I really, really, really like wood filler. It's really nice stuff. It's for miniaturists especially. Do you have bits of lace to use on the sides for sculptural effect? That would be a good idea. Let me think. Ooh, I know what we can maybe use. If I can find it. Let me think real quick. I'm going to be silent because I'm thinking. I have like a ornamental fan that I've used to cut apart in the past. I don't know if it's wide enough to use on this. To make, she's talking about making like a little design on here, which would look nice. Wood filler really only takes, I don't know. I would probably give it about 30 minutes. I mean, it feels like this already feels dry to the touch, and I can put another layer on it again. It dries pretty quickly, but if you're going to do any like heavy sanding, I'd at least give it 30 minutes. Although I don't really know what the official thing says. It says, sand shallow repairs after 15 minutes and deep repairs after 2 to 8 hours. So if you're just using a little bit of it, you can sand it after 15 minutes. But if it's like a lot of wood filler, give it a good 2 hours to dry. So usually anything I'm doing is pretty shallow. Paper, yeah, they're too, anything that we stick down with paper would be too thin. Because that texture is just going to texture over it. I might have some lace that would work. I don't really know. I've never tried stone spraying over the lace. So this takes a little bit of extra time. I probably need to be putting it up here too. So I'll just take the extra and stick it up here. Sorry, I'm off screen. I would be so tired of talking right now. I feel like I've gotten better at it. It helps when you guys ask questions. Like, it gives me more to talk about rather than just like trying to come up with something. So if you have questions, feel free to ask, because that does help me keep talking. Like when you asked about the craft show that I went to. And then I talked about my nutcrackers, which are fun. I just finished making a zombie Mrs. Claus and a zombie elf. And I started making like a little skeleton nutcracker. So my nutcrackers are a little bit different from the normal nutcrackers. And my son, who's 4, he calls them cracked nuts. And I'm like, that's probably more accurate. They look like cracked nuts. Yes, I have gotten a lot more comfortable on camera. I remember like the first, I don't know, probably the first 5 live streams, I was like visibly shaking. I'll show you my nutcrackers in a second. They're over there. I've pulled out all the ones that I want to do. Like I just collect them because a lot of times they break and people don't want them anymore. They don't know how to fix them, or like they try and hot glue the arm back on and of course it falls off. And so I get them for fairly cheap because people just don't know what to do with them, and then I repair them. Of course, the reason the zombies came around is because it was my sister's idea, and but it came in really handy for when I got a nutcracker that I didn't have like an extra part for. Like if he's missing a foot or he's missing an arm, I just turn him into a zombie. You know, and then it explains it why he's missing that piece. And people really like the zombie nutcrackers. Like I'm not that big into zombies. Like I never watched Walking Dead. Like I just like the gooey gore. I'm not, so like I'm more for like the crusty, old, dried out gore. Like the more fresh and gooey gore is not for me, and that's what I feel like zombies are. And yeah, so but I make my zombies kind of cute, so okay, I'll show you once I get this. Sorry, this guy's taking a long time because he's kind of big. I'll show you my nutcrackers in a second. I made, last year I made some anime nutcrackers. Oh, I forgot to like cut around the edges, but that's okay. It'll probably melt anyway when I spray paint it, so. Hi Eileen, how are you? A zombie elf would be perfect for an Addams Christmas, yes. What's funny is that I don't really collect nutcrackers. So, like, I never ever put out nutcrackers for Christmas, which is funny because I have an entire cabinet full of nutcrackers that I've painted or are waiting to be painted, but I just never think about it for Christmas. I don't know why, but it would be a rather Addams Family looking Christmas, especially with my nutcrackers. So anyway, so I've got him kind of blocked off. I forgot to kind of scrape at the edges, but I can go around just like with my fingernail and kind of push in and kind of dent the sides a little bit. So we'll try that technique because the foam board is good at just taking in some indentation. It's really nice. Oh no, don't send me any nutcrackers. I have way too many already. I have discovered Facebook Marketplace, and you can just find just about anything on there. And I have probably picked up every single unwanted nutcracker in the Arlington, Texas area and beyond. So I have plenty. Plus they are pretty heavy to ship, I will tell you. Because I used to have a store where I sold them, but like the shipping was getting kind of crazy. And it's a big box. They're made of wood, so they're heavy. And so yeah, I kind of closed that shop. So the only place you can really, I saw someone say, do you sell nutcrackers? Yes, I sell them, but the only place you can really get them from me is at the craft fair. And I'm doing one here in Arlington later in October, and then I'm doing another craft show in December. And it's in Kennedale, which is really just like South Arlington. Yes, the marketplace is dangerous. Okay, so all I did is I just kind of pushed in the edges because I forgot to score it or like cut the edges off with my X-Acto, but I kind of like the effect just a little bit better, so I can kind of do a little bit of both. They would sell like hotcakes in Germany and Austria, although they have like real nutcrackers in Germany. So they might look at mine and be like, why did you destroy this nutcracker? What's wrong with you? So anyway. All right, so now, oh, I'm gonna get him covered in stuff. Hold on. All right, so let me get this off my hands. So we've been going for about an hour. I like to just keep my time in mind. Okay, so this guy kind of sit like so. Do you think he needs something else? Like maybe I should put him on and then put a layer around his base to make him look like more of a part of this. What do y'all think? If you have any suggestions, let me know. I'm going to go look for something to put on the side here. If you have some suggestions, send them to me. I'm going to go ahead and glue him down, I think, because I don't want him to be any taller than that. So anything that we do after this, we're going to have to do kind of around him. Let me get this excess off, and then I'm going to go look for something to put on the sides. All right. All right, let me go look for something. Let's see. Some vines, a beard, a plaque in front of the pedestal, maybe moss with a little nest on the side, maybe some string yarn around the base or the bust. Nevermore. That's a good idea. Okay, so I have this fan, and I usually buy it. You can get them for like $1 whenever you find them. Like, where's the last place I found these? It was like a little Chinese themed store in like a downtown like crafty area, and they had these for like $1. So I just went ahead and bought them because you can cut them apart and use them as like designs. So I'll show you. They're very, very flimsy, so I'm not cutting apart anything that's like a antique or anything. It's just mass cut wood, but they're great for miniature details. Let me cut this guy apart. So I'll cut off one of these. So what you can do is you can put them like so for like details. What do y'all think? Have this. Make awesome spiral staircases. Oh, I never really think of that, but that makes sense because it would have that kind of metal grated look. Keep that in my brain for later. Table legs. Some guy made a spiral staircase out of them. Oh wow, lots of people know about the spiral staircase. Okay, so I think we're gonna do this. It looks like you guys like this, and we'll see how the stone kind of stone look works on this. So let me figure out where I need to cut it, and then I'll cut 4 of them and we can glue it on. Cut it right there. And I will clean up my mess. I just keep the vacuum there from now on. It's easier. Okay, so I need 4 of these for each side. And then I think after it's painted, I can make a, like a plaque. And then I liked the nest around the outside idea, but that'll be have to be after it's sprayed. Maybe the inside of this piece. Maybe the inside of this piece looks way more elegant. Rusty is cool. Great ideas. Put the wider part at the bottom. Okay, we can try that. Cool. Okay. All right. So, let's see. Okay, what do y'all think? Wider part at the bottom or at the top? Y'all vote. Say wider part at the bottom, so you can either say bottom for this or top for this. I like either way, but what do y'all think? I'm gonna start cutting them because they'll be probably about the same length. Let me get a different, let me get my wood cutter thing. Top, top, top. It looks like top is winning. Couple for the bottom, but I think top is winning. So the wider part at the top. but I think it could work either way. So if you decide to make something similar, sorry I can't show you how to make the little bald dude with the bird, but I didn't make him. I got him in a swap. And I'd like to tell you the name of the artist, but it was so long ago and she didn't sign it, so I can't. Sorry. Okay, so wider at the top. So it's going to look like so. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these on, I guess with wood glue, because that's what I have here. And my fingers are already a mess, might as well just go with it. Let's see. You could make molds of those and make copies using caulk. Molds of these or molds of this guy? Should we do a swap for Christmas? Man, I would love to do a swap. Like, I think that would be so fun. That's not really centered, but it's okay. I have organized one other swap in my life. And it was when I was like doing my blog. I wasn't on YouTube. I was doing my blog. And there were some not so happy people because just the different levels of ability were all over the place. So there were some people who were not happy with what they got, and I felt horrible. So I don't know. Bye, Daniela. Awesome. I'll upload it on Friday. So I don't know. I don't really know how to do a swap well so that everybody comes out of it happy. Like I'd have to do some research because I wouldn't want anyone to participate and feel like they put in a ton of work and then somebody else didn't do like the work that they should have done. I don't know. I need to probably do some like researches on how, like I know a lot of like doll makers do it, on how they do it successfully so that people are happy. Oop, that's not a good piece. Here we go. Okay, so now we have a very sticky podium with some decor. Make sure all the pieces stay stuck down. A cheap doll kit head shoulder part aged up might work as a bust. That's true. Yeah, that was part of the problem. And then there were some people who weren't communicating, and it was, I mean, for 90% of the people, it worked really, really well, and people were happy. But there was 10% that, like, I just felt bad because they put so much work in and the other people didn't, and so. Let's see. I wanted to do a swap, but I read a lot of bad feedback on the Greenleaf site, and it scared me off. It is really fun. The board that I am on does a card exchange instead of a swap. I've stopped doing them in my crafting group. Yeah, it's just like, I think if there was like different like skill level tiers, maybe. Like if you're a beginner and you still want to do a swap, you can swap with another beginner. But you know, then that takes like self-judgment of where do I fit? Like, have I been, like, maybe it's by years. Like if you've been doing it from 1 to 2 years, you know, you're in this category, do a swap there. If you've been doing it from like 2 to 5 years, you're in this category. If you've been doing it for more than 5 years, I don't know. Yeah, people would have to like self-judge and like, you know, make sure like match up what they feel like their skill level matches up with, that kind of stuff. Okay, I like the idea of there being moss around him, so I'm not going to really worry about putting anything else on here for now. So let's see. I'm going to kind of put him aside and let him dry. And then I want to start working on this skeleton guy. So my thought for him is my dog's barking. I want him to be ground level and then maybe like a tombstone over here. But I want it to look like it's part of him. So maybe the tombstone is like coming like off of his shoulder and like he's just part of that tombstone, kind of like a funny, you know, I don't know. What do y'all think? Maybe some people's budget restraints help. Yeah. People do have some, like, I mean, and that's understandable too. I'll be thinking about it. It probably won't be for Christmas because I've just got so much going on all the way through the end of the year. But I have thought about it before. I haven't been thinking about it recently, but I have thought about it before. Coming out of a doghouse. Okay, so let's think about it. So what I was thinking, kind of, let's move some of this stuff, is if I make another tombstone shape like this, basically, like he would be sitting like this. So pretend like this is not empty and that's a tombstone shape. So it'd be kind of like coming off his shoulder, like he's part of the stone type of thing. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I had envisioned. And then I would make the base kind of go around him type of thing. Because I think I will have some stuff coming out of the ground, but I do want him to look like he's part of the headstone. Pick a price range, yeah. There's all sorts of ways to do it. It would just, I don't know. I'd hate to do it and then it just not go well. Like I'd want to have like, I know it's not possible because, you know, involving people with different opinions and personalities is always, you know, a variable you can't control. But I'd hate for someone to have a horrible time in a swap. So I have to really like think through it a lot. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of sketch this out and cut it out and see what you guys think. Okay, at 11:30, I'm gonna go spray 2 more of these guys. So hopefully you can see what they look like sprayed for the end of the stream. And I'll show you the ones that are out there sprayed, although no promises because they were giving me a fit this morning. A fit. I thought I was going to be on camera like all panicky and stuff, but I wasn't that panicky when we started. And then the stream wouldn't work, so that's great. So, thinking about cutting like his shoulder shape out. Maybe like that. See if that works. Oh, and if you wanted to know if spray paint ruins gel nails, it does. I was also frustrated about that. Like I did my nails myself last night with Cousin It, and I was all excited, and then this morning my gravestones wouldn't work, and it ruined my gel nails. That's okay. Bye, Gail. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Yes, I think gargoyle would be fun too. All right, I think I'm going to cut a little bit deeper in. And he needs a little bit more room for his bone back there. Kind of carve it like that. Ooh, that almost fits perfectly. So kind of like that. Says before you're so creative. Oh, thank you. The video may be down at the end of today, but if it is, make sure you check back on Friday because I always repost the live streams on Friday. Okay, so I think I'm liking that. I'll have to attach him. And I can do wood filler in the edges. And then what do I want to put on here? I was like thinking like bones, or I could just write Addams. I don't know. What do y'all think? I want it to be kind of generic, because I didn't do my research and I don't know like some of the family names. Maybe just Addams. What do y'all think? I'm thinking Addams, and I can even do it, I don't know, Bones Addams. I'm sure there's a Bones Addams. There's a Lumpy Addams, so why can't there be a Bones Addams? Ribsy. Yeah, Addams. I like Ribsy. It's really funny. Ribsy Addams. It sounds like an Addams Family name. Okay, Rob, I'm going with Ribsy. Ribsy Addams. Sounds like Grizzly Addams, a little bit. Okay, so let's see if we can delicately get his name on here. Ribsy. I don't think this one's going to be centered very well. It's okay. I know they had an Uncle Knick-Knack, Cousin Lumpy, Cousin It. So I think Ribsy just kind of fits in. He'll be our own ancestor that we made up on Bentley House Minis. Okay, Ribsy Addams. It's official. Okay, find my thing. Just gonna push it in. I'm not gonna push it in as much, so hopefully it doesn't tear. We might make this one just a little bit worn. It's an old ancestor that we haven't heard of in a while. I do want to make Uncle Knick-Knack for the basement. So I don't know if you remember, is it the first one or the second one? First one. First movie. They're looking for something in the basement. And they're pulling stuff out, and they pull out this first thing. It says Uncle Knick-Knack's winter wardrobe. And then they say Uncle Knick-Knack's summer wardrobe. And then they pull out a body bag and it says Uncle Knick-Knack. And then they just like toss them to the side. So I want to make Uncle Knick-Knack for the basement, just chilling in the back. So we got Ribsy Addams. I'm not pushing as hard, so. 1684 to 1867. I don't know if I can get a date detail on here. I may have to like paint it on, just because this tool is not like as exact as I would need to be, I think, to put a date as small as it would need to be. I might put hints of a date. So there it is, kind of pushed in. And then I think I'm just going to hot glue him on. Ribsy cost us $3 here. Oh well, it can stay on there. No one will see that. All right, so I'm just going to put some glue here. And glue it on to Uncle Ribsy. I can reinforce him in a second. Okay, 6 minutes till I go spray this guy. Oh, we have some warping. I'm gonna have to fix that real quick. Okay, I just put a little extra glue in the back and it's going to kind of seal in the foam there and then also kind of make it look more connected. But this guy started, like, this wood is so thin, it just started peeling up. Rubber stamps. Yeah, I do have some rubber stamps that might work after it's painted. Base coat of craft paint and then use the spray paint over that. It might protect the foam board. It's probably a good idea. I'm trying to do it today so that y'all can see it, but we'll see. It has not been treating me very nice today. All right, so hopefully that'll stay stuck down. It was still kind of sticky. So the foam is mostly protected. But it didn't seem to help the first time I tried it. But it was still rather wet because I was rushing. So we'll see. Okay. So I need to do the wood filler around this. E6000 glue to hold the fan wood down better. I would do that. It just takes forever to dry. That E6000 stuff, like I know that it's like really nice quality stuff, but man, it, first of all, it smells bad and it takes forever to dry, and I'm just not a patient person most of the time. And like when it comes to stuff drying, I'm really not patient, which is why I needed to get the type of resin that you can dry really fast, because waiting 24 hours for resin to dry is rough for me. Like, I feel like I should have more patience than that. Probably not how you should use your dotting tool, but oh well. And again, I forgot to rough the edges up, so I'm just going to take my fingers and just kind of push in. Oops, sorry, friend. And I need to do a base for this. I could use hot glue in addition. True. CA glues and Instacure. Is that the stuff you like spray on it and then it's just like done? Super glue does do pretty well. Okay, might need to put a little bit more on here now that I've messed it up a bit. And you could put like a big old crack down the middle too. Just whatever. Nice thing about the foam board, as long as it stands up to the spray paint, is you can kind of carve it however you want. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit on the front here. Then I need to make him a base. All this just to protect it from the dumb spray paint. I don't know if E6000 melts foam. I really don't use it all that much. The only time I really use E6000 is when I'm having to glue something to metal or glue metal to something. So I don't know. Just break it in half. I think my husband uses CA glue because sometimes he'll turn pins on the lathe. And so yeah, He has some CA glue. I've heard of it before. I've never used it. Okay, let's see if I can find his name again. There's the I. Actually, it's much easier to carve into this stuff. Maybe I've discovered something here. Do this part really thick and then just carve into this. Where's the R? There it is. Ribsy. And then I can go back with black after it's sprayed and kind of highlight the name. I like that we invented this Addams character today. Your 18-year-old would love it. Yeah, I would have loved it as a kid too. All right, so I do want to make him just a quick base, and it is time to go spray. Let me see. I'm just gonna kind of sketch around this. And then cut around. Okay, can't see yet. All right, there's my really weird baseline. Everything's covered in wood filler. Special for foams. Oh, well, that's good to know. Hold on. I'm going to clean my fingers. I tend to do this where I get going on a project and I just don't take time to clean my hands off and then I regret it. So I'm just going to do that. And clean up this. Okay, it's a little bit better. All right, all the way. Okay, we've got our base. My dad always says if you're not making a mess, you're not enjoying yourself. That's true. Everything I make comes with a mess. I get a bit jealous of my sister who crochets and like everything's just neat and tidy. She can just put it in a bag, take it wherever she wants to be. You know, and like I have to take paint and glue and scissors and knives and rulers and like to take anything I want to do anywhere. It's not fair. Okay. So there's our little base for this guy, just roughly cut out. So I'm going to glue him on. Oh, good. I'm glad that'll be helpful. All right, so I'm going to glue him. We won't see his $3 sticker anymore, so we solved that problem. Okay, glue him on. The hot glue reacts more with the paper on the foam board than the foam, which is kind of weird. And I think Ribsy's going to need a lot of moss around him as well. Okay. I'm going to leave him here. I'm going to go get my tray that I spray stuff on, show you what I've already sprayed and what it looks like. And then I'm going to put these on here and then go spray them. So it's going to be a lot of back and forth. So don't leave. I will be going back and forth. So, this is what I sprayed this morning. This is the mess I was dealing with this morning. So this one I sprayed initially and then the top melted and then I added wood filler on the top and then sprayed it again. So there's this one. Let's see. So that kind of worked. So if you spray it the first time and it melts, then you can just fill it and then spray it again. It did warp it a little bit on the front, which is why I had the idea to put some stuff on the front, but honestly it doesn't look that bad. And then here's the second one I tried where I did the wood filler right away, but it looks like it even melted the wood filler because there was wood filler all on the front of this. So, and it melted up here. Like this was all covered in wood filler and it just ate it. But it does look nice and rocky. So I might try to go back again with wood filler. I don't know. So hopefully these turn out a little bit better. We're going to hope so. So we're just going to test it out and see what happens. And if it's horrible, we're not going to cry. We're just going to move on and try something else. So I did find that I was trying to stick these down with like little things of masking tape, but very quickly it was not having it. They were falling over and I was getting frustrated. So I actually am just going to put like a dab of hot glue on the bottom and then stick them because I can just pull them off later. And that keeps them from toppling whenever the spray paint hits it. Okay, and then I'm gonna put down this guy. I don't think I'll have any problem with the face because it's not foam. How about acrylic sand? And yes, that is another good option if you wanted to do it by hand. And so that may be something I end up doing when I make more of these. For right now, we're trying the easy road, which was not working so well this morning. So I want to make sure these guys are stuck on here pretty good. I'm going to go spray them and face the mosquitoes. I don't know if it's just a Texas thing, but there are mosquitoes everywhere. Don't spray the bird. If I don't know. I kind of was thinking it'd be cool to have the bird sprayed. What do y'all think? Spray the bird or don't spray the bird? Vote, because I can cover him up. A light layer of fusion paint underneath the textured spray paint. What is fusion paint? I haven't heard of that before. Let me know. Don't spray the bird, spray the bird. Spray the bird, don't spray the bird. Oh, it's like 50-50 right now. One, two, three, four, 5 say spray. 1, 2 say don't. 3 for don't. I don't know. I think he's too large to be a real like bird. So I'm thinking that he probably would be part of the stone. Plus, there is a vulture headstone. So I don't know. I think we're gonna spray him. Don't kill me. I think we're gonna spray him, and then I might try and make another a few more birds around the cemetery. But I really think it looks cool. Like that is who that character was. That he always had a crow on his head or something along those lines. So I'm gonna spray him. We're gonna see how it looks. I'm gonna spray it real quick, and then I'll be back to keep working on Ribsy here. And hopefully before the stream ends, you guys can see how these came out. I think they're gonna need a second spray, so I'll be going. I forgot. Oh, Ribsy he still needs stuff on here because he'd melt. So I will take him out. I don't think I'm gonna need to glue him down, so I can just set him down and spray him. but I need to put some wood filler. I mean, there are Addams who play music. They play the mamushka. So there's like a one of them who plays like a snake or something in the scene where they do the mamushka dance. I don't think we'll have time for the wizard today, but if I do create him, I'll make sure to show you guys. And obviously I won't be able to age them today, but I think I will do another video in the future where I'm working on the cemetery, and I'll probably, if I do the couch thing, I'll show that in the video, and I'll show how I kind of lay them out, because that's going to be a really fun video to make of putting the cemetery together, because it's so classic Addams Family. I'm going to put like an old dead tree, and Ribsy has a fan club. Do like an old like a old dead tree, and yeah, I think it would just be a really fun thing to do. Yeah, we need to write a whole backstory for Ribsy, and so that we can maybe send it to the Charles Addams Foundation. Do you know that they have a foundation? His wife, T. Addams, runs it, and we can submit our own Addams Family character. I don't think she'd probably care, but she probably enjoys the fact that people still love her husband's work after all these years. I think it's a foundation that like encourages kids to do art. Ribsy needs more wood filler. Probably needs more wood filler on around him so he looks like part of him. You said Ribsy needs more wood filler. It made me think of that Saturday Night Live sketch where they were like, needs more cowbell. But it needs more wood filler. Okay. We'll let him dry a little bit. He does need some back here on his little shoulder blade. Eve Addams. All right. Ribsy Addams is ready to be sprayed once he dries a little bit. Okay. Just destroyed my nails. Okay. So we've got him drying. We've got these two. So I was going to try and show you guys how I would age them. I don't know if I'm completely happy with them. I don't know. This one actually worked out better, and this was my second try. This is my first try. But it's just, I mean, it all depends on the spray paint. And then when I just now sprayed, it like stopped spraying, even though there's more in there. So I don't know if I got a bad batch or something. I don't really know. All right, so I do have, let me get a paint palette. Oh, I was going to show you guys my nutcrackers. I almost forgot. Hold on. here's my zombie elf. It's my zombie elf. He's got little toes sticking out. He's got an eyeball missing. So it's my zombie Christmas elf. And then this is zombie Mrs. Claus. So she's got a rip in her dress. She's got her toes showing too. See her little toenails? And then she's got one droopy eye coming off the side here. And then I'll show you my skeleton dude. Here's my skeleton guy. I wanted him to kind of look like a little trick-or-treater. I'm still, like, I haven't painted the inside of his mouth, but I want to put, like, a little pumpkin bucket in his hand. So you remember, like, those corny old Halloween costumes where you're supposed to look like a skeleton? So, anyway, I'm still working on him. And then I'll show you one more nutcracker that I have not painted yet that I want to. Guy's huge. He's gonna be my sign for my table. So those are my nutcrackers. That's my little side thing I do in October. So let's see, what time is it? I'm going to try and age this guy a little bit while we wait. It's a rare sight to see an actually somewhat clean paint palette on my channel. Ta-da! They never look this way. So I'm going to take a little bit of black, my normal aging colors. I don't have brown for some reason. I'm just going to test out some aging ideas on this gravestone. Let me get brown real quick. Ooh, that's all water. Gross. Oh, okay. I will do that. It's probably, Joanne, probably because it's this stuff, it gets clogged easier, so I will do that when I go spray them a second time. I'm afraid to go see how they've held up. Come on. This brown paint doesn't want to play today. Looks like I need more. I use brown on everything, so that's probably why. All right, I'm going to work on this guy because he's the most decent, probably. Get some water. I'm going to water down some paint here. Really water it down. Just try and get it into the letter areas. If you're wondering who Tully is, it's also from the first movie, Tully Alford. He tries to scam the Addams family out of their money. Supposed to do it. Oh, interesting. Well, I just started using it this morning, so hopefully I haven't messed it up too bad. And then I'm going to do the crack. Have it drip down. If it's not dripping well enough, you need more water. Come on. Drip, 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 drip. And of course, go around the edges. There's no definite gravestone aging technique, just do whatever you think looks right. Or you can look up reference photos of old aged gravestones. Okay. Try removing nozzle and clearing with a pin if it won't work, okay? Little water will liquefy that brown. Okay, awesome. My dollar store has 3-pack pallets. 6. That's probably, I just need to get several more at the dollar store because I'm horrible at cleaning them. Really horrible. Okay, one of the best aging techniques is to dab with your finger, because if you do it only with a brush, it looks very brush strokey. And so if you dab with your finger, it ends up looking a little bit more natural. Oops. And if you drop it in the paint, then it looks even more natural. It doesn't hurt to pray when you're spray painting. Please don't mess up my project, please. And then definitely wherever water is going to pool is where stuff will grow up and be gross. So it's just like, I feel like every time I show my aging techniques, it's just kind of the same thing over and over again. I just drip stuff and dab stuff, same colors over and over. Welcome back, Leslie. I'm impressed you're watching it while you're traveling. That's pretty impressive. So if me showing my aging ever gets boring, just y'all let me know, and then I'll just fast forward through it. Because I really do feel like it's just the same stuff over and over. Oops. So we've got kind of a gravestone look going. I want to dab that a little bit. Thanks, Leslie. And I'm going to do a little bit of brown. Using the different types of paint to age, or the different colors, just gives more depth. Like, you can just stick with the black, but like different stuff's going to hit stuff outside. Well, that's true. Thank you for that viewpoint. I feel like I do the same stuff over and over again, but you're right, it is different shapes and different textures sometimes. Paper clay could work too. I don't know, it's kind of like, I wish I had done an even better like test before today. Like, I felt like, oh, I've done this before, it's just gonna work. And then it didn't. So I feel like I don't have like a definitive answer. But I don't know, I guess we'll see when I go respray the guys that are outside right now. But I do think the aging is helping it not look so poorly done. What do y'all think? What else? I have some gray here. Put a little bit of gray on there. Probably if they had a gray version of this, like this is like a taupe or like a sand color, I probably would have went with gray. But they didn't have gray, so you can always paint over it. Or I don't remember who said it earlier, but you can mix like some fine art sand with gray paint and paint over it if you just want to skip the whole spray paint problem. if, I mean, I may do that with Ribsy. Just paint him. Maybe we'll do that right now. We're not going to risk Ribsy with the spray paint. That's what we're going to do. Okay, Ribsy, are you ready? Okay, so this is just a simple aging of one headstone. And there's something purple on it. So that's interesting. I don't know what it is. We'll cover up that with black later. There's just a simple aging there. And clean this up, and then we're gonna do Ribsy with the paint and the sand real quick so you can see another option. Alright, because we don't want to mess up Ribsy. So let me get some paint and some sand. And this is probably going to be your foolproof method. Oh, I needed that. This is going to be your foolproof method of not messing up your gravestone. It's probably what I should have done in the first place. But spray paint's faster, so you can get the spray paint to work for you. It's gonna move a lot faster. So now I put some gray in here. And I'm just gonna take some sand, put in my paint, and then I'm gonna start mixing it together. And it's probably gonna make the same exact texture because this is fine art sand. If you get sand from like a beach or something, it's going to be really gravelly. So this is just, I mean, it's manufactured. Is that the right word? Like it's ground down to be very, very fine. So it's going to give you a more fine texture than sand from the beach. Now I'm just going to mix it up. I'm really scared to go see what happened to those ones outside. And I don't want to go through the mosquitoes again. Anybody else? I didn't read. If anybody else is having issues with mosquitoes, they're so bad. I kill at least probably 3 or 4 a day in my house. And then we have to walk through them to get into the house. It's just, they're everywhere. And they just said, like, somewhere on the news that 200 of them tested positive for, 200 of the ones they tested positive for West Nile. So yay for that in this area. A constant swarm. Yeah, it's cool down in Australia right now, isn't it, Joanne? You have to remind me. I think it is. Okay, so we're going to take our mixture, and the interesting part is to see if it really covers up. Okay, I can still see the words on here. I may have to go back and... Looks like I might need a little bit more sand, or maybe a second coat. I don't know. This might be a better texture. We'll see. I'll have to re-find Ribsy's name. But this isn't going to mess your, it may ruin your brush, but it's not going to mess up your foam. So... I mean, and some people may not even be able to find this type of spray paint, so this is probably just, I should have done this from the beginning probably. But I was so sure the spray paint would be fast and easy. Sand from the beach would be cool for old tombstones. Yeah, they'd be really, really bumpy. Spring just started today. Oh, cool. Fall just started here. Someone has sitting water or pools not cared for. Yeah. Puerto Rico, they are part of the attractions. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I used to live in the Virgin Islands. I lived in St. Croix. And I don't really remember there being mosquitoes. Like we played outside all the times, and all the time. And I don't remember fighting off mosquitoes. There were other bugs. I remember the other bugs, but I don't remember mosquitoes. So I think he's probably going to turn out really nice. I'm glad we decided to do this. Let's see if I can find his name again. There's the S. There's the Y. Somewhere in there. B. I don't know. Maybe should have made this a little bit deeper. There's the I. I can see the I. There's the foot of the R. I'll just have to redefine it with paint. I feel like I messed up his name. Okay, I can't even see any of the Addams part. Maybe this is the A. And the M should be somewhere over here. Right there? I don't know. I feel like I'm not, I feel like I'm messing it up. There's part of the S. Well, Ribsy's name can just be added back on. So just keep in mind, if you do try this method, just watch out for your letters, or make them a little bit deeper, so it's easier to keep track of where your letters go. Because I lost them with one coat real fast. And there's gray, like I can feel the sand like just hitting me all over, so. Just keep in mind it's a little messy. Oh, and I put glue usually in here. But I didn't today, so hopefully it stays all right. So far it seems to be sticking on and not having any issues. But you can always go over it with a layer of like clear matte something. Maybe pre-paint in black so you don't need full coverage with sand paint. Oh, that's a good idea. Yup. We gotta figure it out together. This is the part that you guys don't get to see in my videos, where I'm like, well, that didn't work. Now, what could work? But what's nice in the live streams is you guys can help me figure it out. So of course the paint will matte. Right now it looks very wet, but it will matte down once it starts drying. And then I have to paint where my fingers are at some point. I don't know how to put them down. Okay. I'm going to go, we could stamp the letters. They have small letter stamps. I could do that. I could also, like, I think I have some letter punches. I could punch out the letters and make them stand off of it, but usually they're carved into the stone. Okay, I'm going to go get the other ones and we can kind of see what happened to our bald guy. So I'll be right back. All right, so what we have is going to fall off. We have this guy, and he probably needs another spray. It's kind of a thin coat, but I wanted to do it rather thin because, like I said, the paint's really watery. But it didn't really cover up that this isn't part of it. So, I don't know. I can see that this coat is a lot more fine and shows a lot more detail than the sand plus the paint. So I guess it kind of depends on what you're going for. If you want to see a lot of detail, then you might want to go with the spray paint route and just really be careful with your foam. And I can still see that it did affect the foam. Let's see if I can get it off here. Nope. Doesn't want to come off. It's just a mess. Okay. So let's see. I'm just gonna leave it on here. I'm gonna have to pull it off after it dries a little bit more. But you can see, even though we covered that with wood filler, it still messed with that foam right there. And so I could put another layer of wood filler in there. And then on this guy, you can see it kind of got it a little bit on the top. And the front and the back sides of the foam. So it just really depends, I think, on what you're willing to, what you're going for. Let's see if I can put Ribsy next to this guy successfully. So there's that guy. Ribsy's still wet. Ah. So you can see hopefully the difference in like the fine mist of the spray paint and the roughness of the sand in the paint. So like I said, it really just kind of depends on what you're going for. And if you're willing to fuss with the frustration of the spray paint melting your foam board. And there might be foam board that doesn't have this issue. And I mentioned Gator board recently. And that stuff I hear is a little bit better than just plain foam board, so maybe there wouldn't be an issue with that. You could also do like craft wood, like, is it balsa wood that's really soft? Balsa wood could be a good idea as well. It's about the same thickness of the foam board, so you could still do the same shapes and cut them out really easily. And I don't think that the spray paint would affect that as much. So it's kind of up to you on what steps you want to follow. I will, at the end of this video, after I post it on Friday, I will kind of show you what I ended up with. And if I have any extra tips and tricks, I will add it into the end of the video and you guys can check it out. It was really fun kind of experimenting, coming up with different ways to put this together. What do you guys think? Do you have any ideas or any opinions on what we did here? More wood filler. Sandtex. Okay, we have a product in UK called Sandtex. It's a masonry paint with a sandy texture. I'll have to look that up. The fan would look like metal. Could be a good idea. It's probably too far gone. It might be a good one for in the future, but I think you'd have to put it on after it's spray painted. Coat the whole thing in glue. That's probably a good idea. Are y'all talking about me? Um, well, I did use some wood glue in one of them, and it still melted through the wood glue. I think I used wood glue on this one, and it still melted through it. So, I don't know. Yes, the aging part definitely helps. So, if you're doing this and you want some old, battered, and aged monuments and stones, this will work for you because they're going to look pretty beat up by the end. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. It was a little bit of a bumpy ride, a little bit interesting. Yes, Ribsy will get the full-on paint. I think he's probably my favorite. I like the bald guy too, but I really like Ribsy's got some attitude, and I like his name. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for your suggestions and for hanging out with me today. We want you to host a weekend of classes. That's an interesting thought. Oh, you're all gonna come visit me? Well, I do have like a classroom area in my house because I teach art lessons, so could be. Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it, even though it was a bit of a I don't know what to do type of thing. But yeah, I will definitely be sharing in the future a video of me kind of landscaping the cemetery and putting it together, and you will definitely see the bald guy and Ribsy and maybe this little guy there, because I do want a Tully Alford tombstone there too. And that's it. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks so much for talking with me. It definitely makes the live streams go way easier for me because I have people to talk to and questions to answer. So yeah. Someone said about a weekend of classes. I was like, that could be fun to do, like a weekend of live streams, and you could just like join in when you could. That would be fun. Maybe like when I hit like 10,000 subscribers, we'll do a weekend of miniatures with Ara or something. Something like that. I don't know. We'll have to think. We got a while before we get there, but that could be fun. All right. You guys have a great day, and I'm going to make room to move my mouse. And I will see y'all in the next one. Oh, there we go. Bye. So here are the final pieces after I aged them all. The only thing that I did extra, you saw me age the one that says Tully with black and brown. The only thing I did extra is I took some white paint and I just dry brushed it over the top of the stone and over the edges of the base of each headstone. And I just highlighted some of the stone, gave it an even more aged look. And it could also emulate some bird droppings that may have happened in the graveyard. And then lastly, I added a bit of green moss that may have been growing on the stone that also helps it look really, really old. So thank you so much for joining me for this live stream. I hope you enjoy the final look of these, and I will be making more in the future, so stay tuned.